Alright guys, here's my new boiler, steam boiler, that I had a plumber install. It's a crown boiler, BSI 138. It's a steam boiler. I have two mains here. Sorry, one, two. So also interesting is that my basement, I have a finished basement. So the upstairs is all steam heat, but downstairs it's baseboard heat. I have a circulator pump that circulates the hot water in this boiler down through those baseboards that I just showed you. And he did this installation. I live in northern New Jersey. He installed, hold on, I'm skimming the boiler here and I'm trying to just make sure that alright, there we go. He installed his boiler, all the piping, for $2,000. Okay, and seemed like he did a really good job with the piping and whatnot. I mean, I don't know, I'm not a plumber, but I posted these pictures online on forms and stuff, and it looks like he did everything correctly. However, I noticed that after he installed this thing, I was getting really bad water hammer upstairs. It sounded like someone was hitting a pipe with a sledgehammer. I was losing sleep. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I called him over, and he actually thought it was a steam return, a water return that was clogged. What do you call it? The return pipe that returns the water back to the boiler. He thought it was clogged, and the water was stuck up there in my radiators, and that's what was causing the loud water hammer. Then I did a little bit of research, and I found out that once a new boiler is installed, it has to be skimmed because there's a ton of oil from the manufacturer that sits inside of it, and essentially what happens from what I read is the oil doesn't allow the water to turn into steam properly, and actually causes water to shoot up these pipes and into your mains, and then that water goes up into your radiators and causes the water hammer, and it causes a lot of surging, which I was witnessing. Right now the sight glass is completely full because I'm skimming the boiler. This video is actually about skimming, but I'm just trying to explain what's going on here. But before, like for example, yesterday, this is the first time I'm skimming it, but yesterday the water would surge about 5 inches up and down, up and down, up and down, and I thought that was definitely weird because my old boiler, I just bought this house a couple months ago, and it had a peerless steam boiler that was cracked. That's why I had to buy this one. But that one would only surge about an inch up and down, half an inch up and down. So I was like, something's definitely going on. And I read that one of the symptoms of not skimming the boiler and the oils inside the boiler is surging. So that water is surging up and down because the oil has coated the inside of the boiler, and it's like, I don't know what the hell's going on. I guess it's making it too slick for the water to, I don't know, evaporate properly. Not evaporate, but turn to steam properly. So anyway, to get that oil out, you pretty much have to do what I'm doing here. This boiler is the BSI, Crown Boiler BSI 138, and someone on the heating help forum pretty much told me that I should read the instruction manual, and I did. I mean, at first I didn't because I thought the plumber was gonna do everything, but after he was on the verge of cutting my walls to try and unclog the returns. But when I posted my issue on the heating help forum, someone told me if my returns are clogged, then I should be losing water, and I am not losing water. Once the boiler is on, the water surges up and down. When I turn it off, that sight glass is the same. The level on that sight glass is the same as when I started. It's before I ran the boiler, so I'm not losing water. And I also have this water feeder here. I don't know if you can see that. So an automatic water feeder, which tells me how many gallons of water is being added to the boiler, and that number has not changed once. And I've been running this boiler for a week. It hasn't changed at all, so no water has been added to this system. So I'm not losing water. Because essentially, if I had a clogged return, water would go up to the radiators and it wouldn't return back to the boiler. But apparently that's not the issue. What the issue is the oils inside the boiler, and I had to skim them. So I saw a bunch of YouTube videos. I probably should have hired a plumber to do this, and the guys on the heating help forum helped me out a lot. So inside this boiler is water, and the water normally sits to about this level inside. Okay. In order to skim the oil, you have to bring the water level up to the highest point, and in the directions, every boiler is different, but in my directions, I have to bring it up to this height. The height of this is where the pressure relief valve goes right here. It actually says to remove the pressure relief valve and do the skimming from this port. Because what happens is the oil sits on top of the water, and this, that's true. When you, if you ever changed oil or even put olive oil and vinegar or whatever, I'm pretty sure the oil sits on top or something like that because it's denser or less dense. I don't know. Whatever. But my point is, there's water in this boiler. The oil is sitting on the top. So what you have to do is you have to heat up that water and just make that oil surge to the top a little bit, but just enough so that it trickles out of this port. If you raise the water level too much, you're going to be getting too much water. You're going to be releasing too much water into this drain instead of oil, because the oil is at the very top of that water line. So I took the pressure relief valve off. There's a ton of videos. I added this T, and the reason for putting this T here is so I could see inside. I can see what's going on there. I can see if the water level is too high. If the water level gets too high, I come over here and I shut this valve a little more. I found a pretty good sweet spot here where this valve is barely open, and it seems to be the perfect spot for me to be able to skim just the top of the water. So I install this T, and this nipple, and elbow, and then I put this hose here, another nipple, and the hose that goes down into this drain. Every 10 minutes or so, you want the water to be hot so the oil comes to the top. So every 10 minutes or so, I turn it on for about a minute. Turn the boiler on for about a minute. I let it heat up. When I do this, when I do turn it on, I notice that more water comes out. It starts moving. So be careful, because when I first started doing this, I thought the water was low enough where it wouldn't shoot out of here, but it shot out of here. So I mean, after a couple minutes and a few times of playing around with the water levels, you'll find out what water level you need to keep it at. And all it comes down to is adjusting this knob and how much new water you want to flow into the system. And just keep in mind that water is cold, so you need to heat it up. So I was Probably should have got a plumber to do this, but this takes hours to do, and I think plumbers in Jersey charge like $150, $200 an hour, which is ridiculous. But well, it's not ridiculous, I guess. It is what it is, but I just don't want to pay that much. So I risked getting burned and potentially blowing my house up, but I think I'm doing this properly. See, because it's because of what was on right now, it's surging a little more, and so that top layer is boiling, and a lot more activity as to when I compared to when I turn it off. And I'll turn it off now. It's been running for about a minute, 2 minutes. Turn it off and continue to let it skim. I'm not a plumber, obviously. This is first time a homeowner. I figured I had the tools to do the job, and so I give it a shot, and I think I'm doing this successfully. I don't know if you guys hear that, but sometimes the pipes clank up there. But that's not the water hammer. The water hammer is like 20 times louder than that. The amount of water that was surging up through these pipes, hopefully that was happening because the boiler wasn't skimmed, but the amount of water that was going up there and coming up to my radiators was insane. One night I filled up about 30 water bottles full of water shooting out of the vent in one of my radiators upstairs. I was like, what the hell is going on? Turns out water's going up this black piping going to the mains, and it's not supposed to be going in there. I'm pretty sure zero water is supposed to be going up there. All that's supposed to be going up there is steam. Essentially, I don't know if I said this already, but so the oil from the manufacturer in the new boiler, it coats these pipes, and it doesn't allow the water to turn to steam properly, or something like that. And then that causes it to shoot up into the two mains and travel up all upstairs through the pipes and into the radiators, and the water hammers cause when the steam hits that water in there, and all kinds of issues arise. If you guys have any questions or comments on how I did this, just drop them below. I actually did have a valve on here, and had this valve over here. It just didn't work out, so I took it off, and I don't really seem to be needing it. The instructions also call for to add a chemical cleaner into the boiler, but I've read that it's not necessary, so I decided to skip that step. But you could do that too, I guess. I was reading the Will McLean instruction manual on skimming boilers, and it actually says to add Arm & Hammer baking soda or something like that into the boiler. I've been doing this for about an hour and a half now. I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm just gonna keep going. Then I'll probably do it again next week or in a couple days. But man, I'm telling you, that water hammer, I've been sleeping for like 3 or 4 hours a night. I've been having to use earplugs because the water hammer in these radiators in the piping was so fucking loud. It was insane. I hope this corrects the issue. What's going on here? Oh no, that was water. Yeah, it's quite a tedious process. Takes a while. See, I'm gonna fire it up again, but you gotta do it apparently. I actually saw a guy on YouTube who built this pretty much like a long pipe, about 3 feet long, and he just shoves it into this hole. I don't know if that, I mean, it's obviously different than skimming a boiler. He's like power washing the inside of it, and all this black shit's coming out of it. And I want to do that to this boiler, but I'm not doing that. It doesn't say in the instruction manual or anything like that. He pretty much shoves the hose into here. Well, I think his boiler is a little different, so he put it in there, and he just shoves this hose in there and has water shooting out of it, and he shoots all the inside of the boiler with water, and all this black oil and grease comes out of it. I mean, that would be awesome to be able to do that, but I don't know if I'm going to do that. We'll see what happens, but a ton of oil came out of it, grease and dirt came out of his boiler. If any of you guys know why, so this boiler is brand new. Like I said, this fucking pipe is hot. Jesus. This is the pipe, the black pipe that's I'm skimming with. But if any of you guys know why all these little pieces of crap fell here, like I said, this boiler is brand new, and I'm thinking that stuff is from the packing or something, or from manufacturing, since it's a brand new. I don't know if you guys can see it. It looks like ash. See all that crap in there? What's that from? This fucking thing is brand new. I paid about $3 grand for it. Then another $2 grand for the installation. So the $2 grand included all this piping. This guy had like 7 guys here, and they were cutting pipes and threading them in my garage, and it took like 10 hours to install. And after we installed it, it wouldn't cut on. There was some issue. He thought it was these relays, so we got new ones. I actually didn't have heat for a day. He came back the next day. Turned out there was one screw in here that was loose and wasn't making a connection, and then we got that going. But anyway, if you guys have any questions or comments, or if you guys want to tell me how stupid I am for doing this myself, go right ahead. Anyway, thanks, and let me know if you guys have any questions or whatever.